The 1985 Buick Regal is ready to have its door changed off after its window blew up somewhere in the middle of Nebraska. Now you're going to say, why the heck are you changing the door when you can just fix the window? Have you seen that door? It's kind of crusty and ugly. So I've got a door over here that happens to be off of a Cutlass, and I also have a perfectly flawless door that came off of a Turbo Buick, but the rest of the body is by no means perfectly flawless, so it's going to get the door that's loaded and ready to rock. This is the door that I never should have bought, but by golly, I am glad that I have it now. Came off of a Cutlass. This came from a highly reputable G-body part source, and they said it was rust-free. That thing is not rust-free. It's a little crusty. The advantage is it's less crusty than what's on the car, and it's loaded. With the exception of the door latch, which I'll just take off that door, this one is really ready to rock. The hinges on it were absolute garbage. I have a new set coming, so I'm just going to take that door off for now while I wait for parts to get here sometime over the next few days. So let's just get the old door off. So this is a crank window door, meaning that there is no wiring, no power door locks, no nothing. This is as simple as it gets. There are 6 bolts that hold the door to the hinges. Now I want to be totally clear. I have made a video about changing the door hinges on my mom's 1981 Monte Carlo. In that video, I took the fender off because I just couldn't get anything to line up right, like at all. So what I'm going to do is I've been presented with new information, and I'm going to try and do this with the fender on. Worst case, I have to take the fender off. No big deal. So I'm going to start by taking the 6 bolts and hope I don't drop that door on my foot because these 2-door G-body doors are heavy. So the bolts that GM used on the bodies of these cars, especially if it's a 1980 and newer, 80, 81, 82 was that weird crossover where some stuff was SAE, some stuff was metric. This is an 85, so it's probably 11 millimeter, but if you don't have 11 millimeter because it's kind of an uncommon wrench size, 7/16 is practically the same. So I have a smattering of 11 millimeter and 7/16 stuff, plus the electric ratchet. I'm going to get 4 of these bolts out and leave 1 per hinge, and then I'm going to get some help because this door is stupid heavy. So, yeah, I'm going to get started. There's not much to see, so check back with you in a minute. So the easy part is done. The door is on the floor. It came right off. The bolts were a little crusty, but that's kind of what I expected. No issue there. But I don't know. What do you think? Drive it around like a Jeep? Maybe it'll identify as a Jeep because we can do that in today's world, right? Anyways, so I'm going to take a few minutes and clean up the hardware a little bit. I'm going to chuck up a wire wheel in my lathe. Yes, this is a good idea. And clean up the hardware so that way I've got some good hardware. You probably thought I was kidding. Don't worry, I'll edit that out. The threads are all cleaned up now. Now to do that 5 more times. So while I'm waiting for parts, I moved over to the donor door and took the hinges off because, believe it or not, they're in worse shape than the ones that were on there. I also took a few minutes to just clean the surface, and yes, that is actually gray tractor paint, not primer, but it's what I had. Remember, this is not the final door. This is just one that's going to get me by until I get the, really start digging into the body. So I also went so far as to take the hardware, get it cleaned up, and I even put some never sees on it just to make sure that I can, run the threads nicely like it's supposed to. It's little things like this that do make a difference and make it more enjoyable to work on your hot rods. Yeah, it's a 3.8 V6. It's still a hot rod. It's still my hot rod. Anyways, I'm just going to keep getting some things prepped up and ready for when parts get here. In getting this prepped, I'm going to get the old handles rivets drilled out. I've just got ye old Christmas tree bit here. I'm going to knock those pop rivets out so that way this can come free when I'm ready for it. Well, that took way more work than I expected. I thought, just zip it right in. Nope. Grab the grinder, knock the heads of the pop rivets off, and then still have to do a little bit of drilling and grinding on top of it. Keep that in mind. I'm going to be replacing the hinges also. These are Goodmark hinges. Previously, I had bought a set of OPGI hinges, and somehow I was shipped the wrong one. Surprise. But that was years ago, and I can't, get that squared up. But the Goodmark hinges are wildly better than every other hinge. The Amazon hinge, the OPGI hinge. If you're going to have a choice, get the Goodmark. I'll make sure there's a link in the comments to these beauties. So now that you're up to speed, these hinges come off. And remember, GM liked those 11 millimeters. If you don't have an 11 millimeter, 7/16 is the right size. Now, it is worth noting that the upper hinges are side specific. The lower hinges are not. So if you get a pair of whatever lower ones, you can just replace those side to side. Yum. Rust flakes. So it is also worth noting that you can rebush the hinging part of these. I did that once, and I've worn the bushing out, and the base metal is just too wore out, so it's just time to replace the hinges. And I'm going to we're going to do it with the fender on and see if we can get it done this time. Previously, I have run out of talent, so we're going to get it done. So, hinges coming off. Now that the hinge is off, the material underneath really isn't that bad. I'm just going to go after it with a wire wheel and just throw some paint on it to help preserve what's there. I'm also going to make sure I chase the threads on the plates for the hinge, because I want the threads to go in correctly. I'm also going to clean up the threads on the bolts that go into these the same way I did the previous ones on the lathe with the wire wheel. So I'll be back to this in a few minutes. The hardware is cleaned up. The paint is drying. Now it's time to turn my attention to the door, because I need a couple of parts to be able to put on the one that's going on. Yes, the one that's going on is white, and I have absolutely no intention of painting it to match the car, because at some point in the not too distant future, this car is going to get totally revamped, and I have a near perfect door to go in place. Why not just put that one on? Because it's not complete and still in primer, and I don't want to subject it to, life. So I'm just going to run this one until it's time to paint the car. At that point, we'll worry about it then. The paint is dry. I'm actually dry. Had to go ahead and take a break, help my kids with stuff for a few minutes. So now I'm going to do one of my least favorite things in the whole wide world. I'm going to put the new hinges on in pretty much the same location. And I want to be totally clear that yes, even though I did wire wheel what was here, I left the original caulking behind, so that way I would have a place to locate the new hinge to and, get close. I am not a body guy. I am a fabricator, and doing the door alignment, fender alignment stuff, not my cup of tea. So let's just get the hinges on here and hope for the best. I went and recruited my wife to help me hang the door, because that's really a two-person job unless you have the right tools, and a floor jack by itself isn't the perfect tool. But it's on there, a couple of adjustments already into it. I'm probably 20 minutes into this adjustment already, and it doesn't totally suck. It at least latches on the first latch. The whole door needs to go forward 1/4 inch, give or take. I know, that's a lot for door gaps and such, but the fact that it's even halfway close, I feel very pleased with. So I'm going to adjust on this for a while. All right. Let's talk tactics just a little bit here. So the bolts that go into the A-pillar, into the car itself, those are going to tip the door or move the door forward and backward. So, and then that means the bolts that are, from the hinge to the door are going to move the door in and out in relation, well, technically perpendicular to the car, in and out. Now, word of advice. Tighten the door hinges down sensibly, tight, but not tight like you're ready to tighten it down for keeps, because that lets you break out a little bit of percussive maintenance and a 2x-something. And what I'm finding is that I can use this to shift the door forward slowly, incrementally, and because it's wood, I'm not going to hurt anything. You can kind of see how I got a couple of marks on there already where I've given it, just a solid bonk, and it has moved. It moved like 60 thousandths maybe at a time. But the point is, move slowly, use some percussive maintenance only on structural stuff, not on the sheet metal. Sheet metal doesn't like these that much. So I'm going to keep adjusting on this a little bit. It's getting better, but watch this. It's closed, and I did have to adjust the striker a little bit because this was a totally different door. It's going to have different adjustments. So I had to move the striker basically up and out just a little bit to make everything line up. Now I have the body at the back of the door doing pretty good. The door gap, it's not stellar, but the front fender has a little bit of carnage on it, so the fender gap was never great either. These are things that are going to be addressed when I paint the car for keeps, and I'm going to stop hunching down. And, I'm just going to work with what I got a little bit. See, there's a little bit of a scar way up at the front there. That's okay. Things happened. It's in the past. Doesn't matter. So I'm going to continue working on getting this aligned. It's a slow process. Take your time. That's about as good as it's going to get for now. Rainstorm came through, humidity went through the roof. I'm going to go take a break and get something to drink. But I'll be back just like... So the next thing on the list is to get the lock cylinder out, because I do want to keep that one because I have the key for that lock. I don't have the key for the other one. So it's just a matter of pull that little thing, undo the clip, don't lose the clip, and then reverse assembly in the other door. And if I lose anything off of the other door, it's okay because I have backups. After wrestling with the easy one on the floor, now I gotta do the hard one. Why is that one hard? Because the window is in the way. Whether it's up or down, the window is going to be in the way. That one, on the floor, I was able to kind of go through where the window would be, and because it's broken. Yeah, so anyways, I'm gonna go be a few minutes on this one. So the lock is in, and that was harder than it needed to be. I've done this on my El Camino before. I've rekeyed both doors. I couldn't figure out why this was fighting me, and then I realized the El Camino window takes up like that. It frees up a lot of real estate inside the door. So as I'm getting everything greased up and lubricated, put wheel bearing grease on the gear rack, all the sliding surfaces where the rollers go back and forth, heavy grease there, some good like white lithium grease where you got the main pivot point in the middle. But I noticed something. I figured, okay, let's make sure that the remote mirror does its thing. And it does. But the problem is, I touched it and it's like loose as a goose. And that's going to be annoying to drive. So now it looks like I'll be taking the mirror off of the old door to put on the new door. So as I'm working through this, I got to get the remote mirror cable undone. There's a little clip way down in there, really hard to see. It's kind of whitish that just, you need to slide it apart from itself. There's a little finger up top, and the two screws, you can get to them right through there above the window regulator, and it's moderately not crappy to get out. So I'm going to do the things now. And there we go. The mirror is in place. The two bolts. Now, I did notice something interesting. The mirror that was on this door had 10 millimeter hexes, and the original Regal door, 85, had 11 millimeter. Whatever. Doesn't really matter to me, but it's on there. Everything is routed the way the factory intended. So now I'm going to start getting this pieced back together. I am a little bit curious about the door pull, if that's been ruined or not. I'll admit, I started to get excited and just started putting the door panel back on. It's pretty standard stuff. It's just G-body door panels, really easy to do. So I'm going to get the window crank on, but since I'm rather tall, I'm going to sit in the car and make sure that I put the crank in a place that doesn't hit my leg up or down. So do that next. That is a good sound. It has been a long, humid, not hot, thankfully, day in the garage. Yeah, it doesn't look perfect, but you know something? The door I had was pretty well rusted out. The window was broken. It had a lot of problems. Having a door on and a window that keeps the weather out is a huge step up, and now I can actually use the car again. So I'm going to get this pressed back into service, tidy up a couple of things like, reconnect the battery, because Otherwise, I'm going to run the dome light out or catch the headliner on fire. We don't want that. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Get out to the garage and go build something. We'll see you later. Someone's going to ask, how's the panel alignment? And I'm going to say, don't look too close. It's not good. The door is a little tweaked already, but there's not much I could do about that. That's just kind of how it came to me. But it's better.